Happy Friday and welcome back to Being Guillén here in the Guillén Cave. Oni looking like he is a lawyer, and OZZIE looking like he just came from Southsider.
Yeah, I have other job other than Vida Baseball and Being Guillén, so I was in work attire before this, so I just stayed dressed.
You look nice, though.
You getting any tickets coming down here?
No, okay. I slow down when it says there's a lot of schools around here, so it says.
No, I'm talking about 55.
Oh no.
Okay.
No.
So no tickets from the man in the suit, but let's do this right away. Doing it for the gram. This past week was a week that was special. 2 out of the 3 men in the show are fathers. Only to eventually become a father.
Yes, not that I know of.
Not that I know.
Might have some in Boston.
You might know.
Caracas.
Boston.
Boston.
Well, honestly, I might have. If we're gonna do that, I might have one in every city.
Oh wow.
Yes, I am the Babe Ruth when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, doing it for was Babe Ruth. Okay.
What's the Babe Ruth?
Doing it for the gram. It's we're gonna do a celebration. It was not only doing it for the gram for Father's Day, but it was also the biggest shindig in the Guillén household, the kid's birthday party. 75 plus guests with children. Half of Miami came up, which is our family.
And some of California.
And we had the Game 4 winner of the World Series, who sits back there, Mr. Freddie Garcia, in town visiting. So it was a packed weekend. OZZIE, what does Father's Day mean to you? Obviously, you have a father. You're a father. You're a grandfather. What does it mean to you? Other than you weren't working, which usually happens on that day.
That's the first time ever that I remember not working. You know, most of the time, most of Father's Day in my career, it was same one because we had to be in the ballpark 10 o'clock in the morning after the game. Sometimes I was in the road. Sometimes I was home, kind of different way. And besides that, I was working in ESPN the same way. And this year was the first time I spent in my house. It was cool. It was nice. I got the first time I can have the grandkids and play with them because before that they just there, but they don't know they was there. Now they old enough to know, and we're in Grandpa's house and we enjoy it. I think I enjoy to have everybody around the house, especially we got Crazy Boy from Miami. That's the first time we spent Father's Day all together with the grandkids and all you guys.
Well, everyone, OZZIE was in town. So I love Father's Day, especially. I'm a father. It's a special one when you're a dad and the kids, they write their scribbles on a card and your wife says really nice things about you. But I love Father's Day because pictures like this get to happen. Father's Day, if your dad got to play at home, it was a day that your manager can't Terry Bevington you and get mad at you for bringing your kids to the stadium, or Drake LaRoche you.
Yeah,
it's like they expect you to be there. So
baseball, it's a one thing that you can bring your kids to the ballpark.
It's like bring your kid to work,
and it's more like a family environment. The kids' party was great. It was a huge success.
Very good.
The taco cart was a huge success. They had live animals. Everybody was in town. It was great. I mean, we stayed up till like 4 a.m. If you follow the Being Guillén page.
It's fun. I think Evie's work is still.
Well, I say so. Thank you, Evie. Thank you, my wife Sarah. Thank you to my mother-in-law.
Yeah,
thank you to the aunts.
Everybody, Carla, Maritza, everybody that
everybody that was there.
His wife,
my uncle, and it was crazy. It was a packed weekend. My cousin my little cousin was here visiting. Hopefully from they're from New York, and my other little cousin was here to visit schools to go to college. So a very packed weekend. And again, like in the Guillén households, we always talk about baseball. And this week, it was the debut of the biggest name to come out in the 2021 season. A debut that's followed by names like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Juan Soto, Ronald Acuna, Fernando Tatis. That list of 5 guys to 6 guys that have been this big in making their debut. Bo Bichette falls in the arms of a young man named Wander Franco, who basically goes deep in his first game in the big leagues. We have his dad going nuts. The best part of this was not the best baseball entrance because he did not enter in a helicopter like Pablo Sandoval did in Venezuela. But the second one. He came in a Rolls Royce to the stadium in Tampa, and he went deep.
From?
Dominican? I think he might be Cuban. Cuban background. But he went deep, 3-run home run to win not to win the game, to almost take the lead. How do you deal with when a prospect, not only is he making a debut, but he is such a big deal that he's like the biggest thing in baseball? They're already giving him praises, even before he takes a one at bat. How do you deal with that as a manager?
Hey, you know what I do as a manager? Look at Jermaine Mercedes. That's all how you two look at it.
Well, time out. I'm going to say this real quick. Jermaine Mercedes. This guy is Jermaine Mercedes was a prospect in the eyes of the White Sox, Jermaine's mother, and himself. Okay, he's not a. He was making a debut at 28 years old.
He's got a face only a mother could love.
I said, you know what? It's funny because people think about it. You know what? To me, I don't care how you approach the ballpark, how you dress to get into the ballpark. To me, it's what you can bring to the ballpark.
That's what I'm saying. No, wait. So you're a big prospect, but this guy is like you with social media. Like literally, people on other teams were like writing about him. Like, when is he coming up?
I knew who he was last year because I started looking. First of all, one look at this guy. His uniform looks great.
He looks amazing.
He looks like
the test.
He passes the eye test. He looks outstanding. Kind of like a Pantera, but bigger. He looks outstanding. He's also going into an organization that is a Tampa Bay Rays. They have a very rich history of drafting great players. Carl Crawford, Josh Hamilton.
Longoria.
This guy, Evan Longoria. This guy.
Harper, wasn't it?
Oh, he think Matt Garza.
Yeah, they have a bunch of guys. David Price. This guy is going to be a good MLB guy, a good MLB player. Is he going to be a superstar? We don't know. We have to see how it works out. Did he look good in his first game? Absolutely. If you show up to a Rolls Royce, I don't know if it's his or if it's a buddy's.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. He showed up in style. I guarantee you, your first MLB game, you didn't show up in a Rolls Royce. Did you own a car?
I don't.
You don't know how to drive.
No, by the way, I don't know. I started driving my first time. It was in the big league like 15 days later.
So that means your debut. So your debut, you don't know how to drive.
Oh, yeah, but I come on. Somebody was driving for me.
Did someone?
Your mom.
Did they drop you off?
Nissan Sentra.
There you go.
Nissan Sentra.
So from a Rolls Royce to
here's the thing,
Sentra.
though. 16 years in the big leagues. This is the part I'm going to say is about this guy, though, because it happened with Randy Arozarena. And I make fun of Randy, and I shouldn't, because this is a problem. Randy got hot in the wrong time for media purposes. Meaning everyone thought that he was going to be – the guy was getting votes for MVP. There's only a certain group of guys, and Tatis is flirting with this group because he got paid. It doesn't mean that he has that talent, but he's showing that he has. Of that group of guys that are like – even amongst big league players, there's an elite group that potential Hall of Famers, every year All-Stars. The Mike Trouts of the world. Era. It's a group – it's like a VIP group within the big leagues. Is this guy going to be in that group? I don't know yet. I don't know. But is he going to be a big league guy – for the next couple years, at least 5 to 6 years?
Absolutely.
I think so.
Absolutely.
Well,
and you know what?
We'll talk.
And I mean, time will tell how it transpires. But we are, I'm going to say we because I include all of us. In society now, we are such prisoners of the moment. What does that mean? That a guy like Guillén has 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and the media hypes him up because we have that power now to talk about stuff. Remember last year, Vladdy Guerrero didn't really get talked about much, and
the best thing that's happened that people forgot his name.
Exactly. And he's like, they weren't talking about these guys a lot. And now they're coming into their own, and now they're, developing their superstars. I just think that us and we as society and us people in the media need to kind of tone it down a little bit and not give guys so much hype, because hopefully Wander Franco doesn't turn out to be another Gordon Beckham or another.
Well, here's the part though. Guys like Gordon Beckham, again.
No. I know what you're gonna say.
He played the 10
first round picks.
You need to be superstars.
Are supposed to be.
Well, this was a free agent. I know, but this guy's a free agent. So when you look at the MLB roster, there's more guys that no one ever talked about in a big league roster than guys are supposed to be superstars.
Because most guys are
including Mike Trout.
Because guys are not going to hit. Mike Trout wasn't a big prospect.
Only Mike Trout in a video game had a ranking of a D.
Yeah,
and meaning like he was the worst player.
So I think it's harder to come with a lot of pressure on your back, and you might attest to that because they trade you for a Cy Young. They're saying this guy better be good, or else we just traded a guy that won 20 games. If you suck, Ozzie when he got traded in '84, there's more pressure on guys that have that number 1 pick because they have to live up to or like Wander, they have to live up to the hype. So every time they come to hit, people think they're going to hit a 5-run homer, or he's got to catch every ball. He's got to do everything perfect. So I feel it's easier to go under the radar like Vladdy did last year compared to, so much pressure.
Hayes, what's his name, Hayes?
Charlie Hayes' kid.
No one talks about him, but he's a solid player.
So, you get a test that when you come and you have a big target on your back it might be hard to perform.
That's why I didn't play big league baseball.
That's why I
fostered
my call for Ken Griffey Jr. and
Barry Bonds. But those guys again. When we went to Cooperstown and we were in the Ogasaga, they were in that room. Okay, that happens the opposite. Frank Thomas's son might be a solid big league player, and he might not be his father because his dad's in a weird box that I think you're in that box as a manager, but even you as a player, like you play 17 years, like you got 1,500 hits in the big leagues, you know, you all-star games, and you even look up to those guys like, man, these guys are like the creme of la creme of baseball. So that's when you see a superstar. I think that a superstar, when you sign someone to a first-round pick, you need to be a guy that can play big league baseball every single year, at least through the years of arbitration.
I think you need to
be an everyday baseball player.
Need to be an above-average MLB player for a decade.
For a decade, all-star caliber. When I mean all-star caliber, does not mean that your fans vote you in. Meaning that every year you're in the conversation of this guy deserves to be there. If you're not in the conversation of you deserve to be there, okay. Even if you don't get selected, I have a list of guys that to me are all-stars. They're not selected because they just play on really crappy teams.
It's the same way with the Hall of Fame.
Well, the Hall of Fame.
I have 1,000 guys in my hand. They should be Hall of Fame. They're not.
I think making the All-Star team was harder before than it is now.
Oh yes.
For sure.
That's for sure.
I think with the fans,
you can market yourself. Tatis Jr. is not that famous. In Tatis Jr. in 1980s is not as famous as he is right now.
Correct. So I think
Anaheim Trout.
I think winning a Gold Glove. I think making the All-Star game was much harder in the 90s, in the early 2000s, and in the 80s.
Only because no one had the stats. Any stat that comes out now?
No, because I think back then, for you to be picked, you had to be really good because it's like your peers are picking it. Now, popularity contest, if you are very popular on social media, you're probably going to get a lot of votes. A guy like Eduardo Escobar, he might get it this year, but he could have been in the All-Star game too, but he plays in Arizona. Not super popular. So I think guys
like Puy, I would think this, if Puy and Bartolo Colon are active, they would get votes for the All-Star just because people would want to see them there. And again, I think that's how I felt about Ohtani. I think this is the first year that Ohtani is actually showing me that he deserves to be there.
But it's funny because I was the best shortstop in my era, and I never even. By
the way, if you were playing today, all of Twitter that's into analytics, because that's all they do is call out teams, call out franchises, call out votes.
Yeah, realistically, you probably should have made. You should have made 7 All-Star games.
It's funny because one day I remember Kike Diaz playing shortstop for the Milwaukee Brewers. He was in the ballot. All of a sudden, this kid went to AAA, play all year in AAA, and he got
more votes.
He got like 700 votes more than me.
Well, because County Stadium.
But here's why: because on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the White Sox will sell out. They won't sell out on Monday.
But County Stadium would.
That's the big difference. The big difference is when you're talking about voting and being there, again, it's changed. The game has changed in that aspect. I think the biggest compliment you've ever gotten on any picture that anyone signed is Cal Ripken Jr. And I wish that we could bring that. Someone can send a picture from Venezuela. He wrote, and I asked Cal about this in the Hall of Fame. We'll talk about it another day. But he wrote, to the real shortstop, to Ozzie, the real shortstop. I'm just an imitation of what you want, what you really are. I think that's awesome. That's
there's nothing
that Iron Man.
There's nothing better than getting compliments from the people that you compete with.
Oh, well, especially that guy.
I'm sure Wander Franco, once he plays 2 or 3 more weeks, and people get to see him every day, our other players will let us know
if he's good.
This guy's.
Well, I'm going to talk about the Miguel Cabrera.
By the way, if Tampa Bay, please show up to the game, man.
Good. Move the team to Vegas.
Move that team to Vegas.
Move the team to Vegas. But move it now. Move it to Vegas. Wait. Good. Ozzie was managing against the Tampa Rays in 2008. I weighed 45 pounds less. I had no kids. They were in the World Series. This whole thing about Tampa's been. They're mystically good.
No, they've been
a better franchise the last 20 years than the Yankees have.
And somebody else on Twitter said this the other day. Someone was making fun. The Pirates played the Sox, and someone said the Pirates have had. Listen to this before we jump into our next topic. It says, don't make fun of the Pirates. The Pirates have had more winning seasons in the last decade than the Sox, and they've made more playoff appearances. I forgot that the Pirates.
They made five wild card games.
They made the McCutcheons, the Russell Martins,
Roy McClendon,
with Clint Hurdle. These guys, the Pirates weren't that bad that long ago.
No, they traded Cole.
They lost in the playoffs, But they had they had a couple. So don't make fun of the Pirates. They were good not that long ago,
and they got in the wild card, and that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like the White Sox they celebrate last year's wild card win, like they were the best.
Because I just shows you we forget very quickly.
Very quickly we forget. So again, don't be rushing on the Pirates. Are actually not. That's pretty good. They need pitching. Like every team in the big leagues needs bullpen pitching. That's where I think the biggest hole has been for them this season. But let's talk about TSA checking gate. I don't even know what you want to call it.
I was going to say TSA, the airport.
The airport. That's what you do. Now when you come off the mound, you get checked TSA style. We've seen Sergio Romo drop his pants.
That's embarrassing.
We've seen Matt Scherzer go nuts about Joe Girardi, who I dearly respect. I was shocked that he went to Matt
3 times.
3 times.
You know what? This is very it's just frustrating to be able to, because like I said, we're in a week now that if you haven't been watching the Euro Cup, fans are flying to the stadiums, and we should be talking about the Astros dominating right now.
10 in a row.
Dominating. They are dominating.
10 in a row.
We should be talking about other things in baseball.
San Francisco Giants
being a great story. The Cleveland Indians, I don't know how, surviving.
San Diego Padres.
The Padres sweeping. And we're talking. And now it's like a thing. You're at the game now, like, oh, they're gonna check him. Is this umpire gonna get him, or is that umpire gonna get him? I think it's a shame that these guys are getting checked like this. And I like Kershaw's idea about. He said that if a manager asks for a pitcher to get checked and they don't have anything, there should be a penalty. Say one of your replays gets taken away. Because you can't just check a guy
but I think this is the problem. If an umpire checks you in the rule book, that's different than a manager saying, and I agree with Kershaw. People are like, what are you talking about? No. What he said was, if a manager, because George Girardi, Mad Max was going to get checked regardless. Everyone's getting checked coming off the mound. So anyone that's cheating, you're either nuts or you're not cheating anymore.
Or you hide it
very well. Because they're looking. They're looking
like this. Watch. I watch it, at least White Sox game. I know what you're. They look in your glove and you look in the hat. They don't check anything.
Can I be honest? It's like when they catch. By the way, it's like when they catch people in airports with drugs. Most of the times they know that you're coming through already with them. Okay. I think when umpires catch people, is they have already an idea. They always look at they know where you hide it. They've already had enough rumors. Umpires don't check of the ball's coming in weird. They already know something's up, and they've been told, hey, check this guy before the game.
Let me tell you one thing. The bad thing about this run timing. I just saw Crochet give up 4 runs.
Oh, and he got checked.
And wait a minute. How you react in that particular moment? You want to push.
You want to punch an umpire.
You push umpire.
No, you get suspended for 60 games.
Attitude, I will, with my attitude, I said, look, I give up 5 runs. I will push it. Then you get suspended. You might
get banned by baseball.
All this stuff just because some idiot.
They were checking. Angel Hernandez was checking a pitcher. It was pissing rain in Philadelphia,
and he checked.
And they had timeout, and they were checking him to see if he had something. I would have been like, "No, timeout here. Make sure that he has it. So I don't get drilled."
Yes. So listen, this is getting out of hand.
Who checked Hernandez? He's so terrible, and he's still in baseball.
But no one checks him, because he's Angel. But
listen, these are things that the fans also get to see this.
That's
because it's also there. So it's like, I don't know what they're going to do, but I don't think it's
so much for speeding up the game.
They say
delinquent. You're delinquent.
They change those guys delinquents. Yeah, like they're carrying cocaine.
So I feel bad though, because there's a level of respect in this game. Okay, I would feel very hard.
So you would do the Alex Cora thing.
Alex did. Alex did that because of what he did. But I'm going to be honest.
He's saving his own butt.
But I'm saying I'm saying if I'm the manager, I'm sitting there, and I think what they should have done, like say the Astros, I'm Dave Roberts, and they sit on 38 curveballs. I'm arguing with them, saying they're doing something. But I'm not just going to check somebody because of the name on their back.
Remember, you have to think about this. A guy like Scherzer. It was surprising that Joe did it because
he's got clout.
It's Max Scherzer.
Like, I'm not going to go check the Grum. I'm not going to be the guy's going to be like,
Grum, check him. And you're like, he doesn't have anything.
I'm not going to check Chapman.
You know what? I swear to God. Every time I talk, it's like controversial stuff. I will drill somebody and say, Go check it
Well,
out.
by the way, but that's what guys are worried about now because because that's what Mad Max said.
Drill Harper.
No, Mad Max. No, the best part was the next.
Oh,
the
my
next
God,
day.
just come out. We don't have anything.
Mad Max got checked by the umps, and he was fine the first check. He said he came up. He didn't mind. The third one, he was like, look at him. And then the next day, they were joking with Harper, who seemed not to be on the player's side and not on Girardi's side. He hit a triple, and then they said, check his hair. We have a story, though, in the Guillén family, with Ozzie being a skipper, about checking stuff. And the number one prospect in baseball. So a show all comes together in one story. Bryce Harper was a rookie. Well, I was excited to meet him and watch him play. But that night, the Marlins dugout, who tend to always complain about something,
he had too much
other than they were complaining. The Marlins players, they were down. They were like 6 games out of first place. They were like complaining. Harper was basically putting on like a hitting display at this point, and they kept complaining to Ozzie, the players, check his bat, because Harper allegedly had too much pine tar. He always has a lot of pine tar. Ozzie, being a big league guy, tells the third base coach and says, "Hey,
stupid idiot!
Let the kid."
What's the guy's name?
Let the kid.
Yeah, he only is in the big league because he's just blowing.
Yeah. So Bo Porter, instead of like saying it the right way, he said, "Hey, the Marlins want to check your bat."
No, he even told the manager.
He didn't tell the manager. He told the kid.
Yeah.
The manager was Matt Williams.
Yeah.
No, the manager was the old man.
Riggleman.
No, I want to beat the shit up.
No, not Frank Robinson.
No, the stupid second baseman. He second baseman in managing the Mets, New York Mets.
Willie Randolph?
No, the manager Willie made second baseman for a long time for Baltimore Orioles.
Rizzo.
Let's keep going.
Okay, so the manager for the.
Well, somebody Google the manager 2012 for the Washington Nationals. I'm not going to do it now because I'm going to lose my train of thought.
Johnson.
Johnson.
Excuse me.
He grabs
lefty.
No, Johnson.
So he grabs the bat. Okay.
Davey Johnson.
So instead of telling the manager, Bo Porter, genius, Bo Porter, goes in and tells Bryce himself. Again, Bryce is a very passionate guy. I don't even know what he told him, but Bryce, I got to give it to him though. This is OZZIE Guillén. The cojones on a young Bryce Harper was awesome. He stepped in the box, stepped out, and showed the bat to the Marlins dugout. Like, is this clean enough? And then OZZIE just snapped because it's a rookie doing that unwritten rules of baseball. Nobody got thrown at, but then
I went after him.
He went after him. Rizzo, the front office of the Nationals, talked to Harper after the game.
And the players,
LaRoche talked to him after the game.
And Mike Morris.
Mike Morris, and they said, "Hey, you need to. This guy's not trying to show you up." And he wrote
he sent. I think Bryce signed a bat.
The bat that he had,
the bat that he used, and he gave it to
OZZIE. We have the bat, and the bat basically says something funny. I'm not going to say there's a lot of bad words on it, but Bryce basically dedicated the bat saying, "Hey, thank you for my first big league bat check." Bryce Harper. But it was a moment, again, the unwritten rules, but it was a moment where the manager was pressured by the players because OZZIE, he doesn't believe in that whole pine tar rule.
No,
like,
I use
a pine tar myself.
And I don't think all the years that I was in the Sox clubhouse or watching the games, that team.
He wasn't a big check guy, but I'm saying
he wasn't a big.
But I'm saying like it's funny because I'll give you a really quick story. Another one. We had another one of my favorite managers. I wasn't allowed. So when I worked in the clubhouse, I was allowed to go to the visiting teams thing. And I would say hi to players. I'd bring them stuff. I'd walk in, walk out. No big deal. And I'd leave. Obviously, I was there for meetings or anything. Buck Showalter said, I don't want any of OZZIE's kids in the clubhouse. You can't come in. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
Are you tampering with the stuff?
He would check. He brought a wire check. And he would check his office for wires.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he thought Buck was with the Rangers.
He thought that they were seeing signs that they were bugging.
He thought that the Sox were like bugging the office.
Yeah,
because I remember they had a couple pitch outs and I'm like,
funny thing. I didn't read my own scout report. You think I care about your scout report? That's a weird thing.
Those are the little things that happen. That's
what happens when you have.
I remember before we jump into the next topic. I remember Buck Showalter was complaining about how the lineup was written.
Yeah,
with Joey Cora, and that's when Joey decided to write. He would write the guy's name, and he would put a picture. Yeah, put a picture of each guy on the side.
But then it got crazy. Then it got like email.
Then and then he wrote the email to the guy. I'm like, because Buck complained about like, oh, this lineup needs to be
more thorough.
Joey does the email. He does the picture. So between Buck,
but that's funny.
And OZZIE staff, there's a lot of give and take.
So the best thing, because they got around the league, because he had also complained to Gardy about the lineup. I got to find one of those lineup cards. The lineup cards exchanged between Minnesota Twins and the White Sox of that time and the Jim Leading ones. got so good because they started putting like the coaching staff like little like minor league baseball cards. So it'd be like a Jim Leland like when he was like 10. And it was like, how can I find the most? And you can see the umpires grab it and be like,
what is this?
Like, well, come on. And it was just a funny thing, but it all started because one of my favorite managers, Buck, thought that, he was a little panicky.
Everything had to be
by the book. Everything had to be perfect. This is the guy that once, remember in spring training, he took out like 7 pitchers with like in the 8th and 9th inning, he took out 7 guys. He was trying to find match again. But again, that's the gamemanship. I feel bad though, and I was surprised that Joe Girardi went after Mad Max that much.
Get used to it. It's going to happen until Manfred changes.
Somebody's going to. But wait, I'm going to say this. Somebody's going to get drilled.
How about Clark?
Well, yeah.
Tony. He's irrelevant.
Tony Clark. What's wrong with you?
Tony Clark is irrelevant.
He should be fired. He should.
Well, maybe he will.
I didn't know. By the way, I don't like call people he fired because I got fired a lot, and I hate when people say they just.
He's not doing a very good job.
Come on.
By the way, so here's the thing: you break up. Allegedly, we had to speed up the game.
No,
they're telling guys you can't step in the box. You can't do. But now you stop up every pitcher for TSA check. I don't care what you say. That's stopping making the game.
Don't
harder.
drop your pants.
I like to say it was Romo. Why not? Sergio Romo said check everything.
Romo took off his belt,
and he said, "But again,
the chaser too. He went down
because pitchers now though." And I heard there's tension. I'm not going to say what team I heard it from. It's not any team in the Chicago side. That a lot of pitchers and hitters are going back and forth. Like, well, this is happening because of you guys. This is happening because of us. And not a good time to split up between players, position players, and pitchers. The union's coming up. Guys, they're smarter than you guys on paper. The collective bargaining, just write it out, do your thing, and fight. Don't let anyone change your rules in the middle of the season. You got players getting hurt. I don't think this is the end of it. I think people are going to get more testy. You do not want to be the guy that's get drilled. If I was on the Phillies, I say Girardi. If I get drilled because of Mad Max, and you freaking checking on him again, me and you are going to have problems. You might beat me up because, by the way,
before we jump into that thing, Girardi going after Mad Max,
best thing ever.
Very embarrassing.
Embarrassing?
Yes. And by the way, Girardi.
I would love to see a fight that I would like to see between 2 managers. And I think they're both in
Joe Girardi?
No, I think Matheny gets broken up by Girardi. I don't
know about that.
Dave Martinez.
I
think Dave Martinez.
Dave Martinez also said,
Dave Martinez. This is a part that was scary about Dave. The pitching coach was talking. Hickey was talking to Girardi, saying, you're always doing the talking. Dave Martinez is doing something very dangerous. The no talk. The stare down. I know Dave very well. He said one time, many years ago, if I was ever in the trenches and I needed a guy to fight with in a team fight, I go Dave Martinez. I know Girardi's resume. Those 2 guys, it would be way more interesting. It would be way cooler than Tony La Russa.
I know that Girardi, he said, let him go.
Let him go. Oh, no. Mad Max will never pitch again.
No. He goes, just
Mad Max,
by the way, you know what? I go out to just make sure Girardi gets
suspended. Yeah, for a couple games. Mad Max, he got crazy eyes. You throw a nasty pitch. You do not want to pick that fight with Joe. Your manager might have a chance.
I think Joe gets it.
I think Joe might.
But Joe's fight against one player, throw a punch at one player.
Oh, he's
suspended for
no time. By the way, they try to suspend you for being the first guy in the fight and Dusty.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So we'll keep checking TSA. We'll keep checking what's happening. We'll keep checking everything that's going on. But again, it was horrible. They called them con artists and from there. So back to where we want to be at. I got to look at my next topic.
Our next segment is real quick. It happened here in the north side of Chicago. There was a ball. You know what? People forget how many outs there are all the time. All the time. So the fact that Javier Baez forgot, I'm like, people are like, oh my God, it happens all the time. David Ross took him out of the game. I think he takes him out of the game because once Javi realized, like, I'm a dead fish, like there's no reason to go back, he didn't try it. So
Javi did not. Javi, and he said, I'm not going to eye wash.
I'm not going to just, eye wash and bust it all the way back. David Ross comes to the dugout. He talks to him, hey, you're out of the game. Javi does his shrug like, okay. If you watch Javi Baez play, he plays super hard.
This is the one
and he's exciting to play. I think David Ross does that more for the team.
I love
for the respect.
So who do you do that for? So I'm saying though. So you've had guys not run. And sometimes it's happened with guys that play really hard.
He did it to Alex Rios. He did it to Alex Rios
twice
in Colorado. I remember that. That one was very offensive, but it wasn't. He just didn't run, and Rios was just out of the game. I think Rios was upset about it, but he knew he messed up, so you wear it on the chin. It's hard to do it to guys that you like, I'm sure, and it's hard to do it to guys that play the game hard.
I think for Rio was my best friend in the team.
Right, but you do it before he talks. You do it for your team and say, hey, look what I'm doing. The most famous one, of course, Billy Martin and Reggie Jackson.
Andrew Jones.
Billy Martin and Reggie Jackson. Reggie comes to the dugout. Billy said, and Billy wanted to go after him. Says, you let that ball drop. You're not playing to win the game. You're not playing hard enough. Reggie didn't like it. Andrew Jones, you were in the outfield. You were in shortstop against the Cubs. The ball dropped in front of the best center fielder of all time defensively. Bobby thought he could have gotten it. That Andrew was.
What did you? No, because I want him to break down that play because everyone thinks it was because the ball dropped and his Andrew ran through a stop sign.
Andrew ran to 2 stop sign.
Did he get thrown out?
The first one, he run through it, safe. The next one, stop it, he was out. It's 2 out. He just stopped. He keep going. Then that right after the ball, Andrew never going to catch that ball. I know Andrew could have catch it. He will catch that with his mouth. And I play shortstop. The ball right in. I think Andrew's break back and the ball fall off. Time take him out. And Andrew cursed around me. Went to.
Can we replay what he said? He said something along the lines like, "Is this old bastard? We'll say bastard." Really gonna take me out in the middle of the game?
By the way,
and what did you say? I think he's pointing at you.
No, I said like he talked to me like what? I said, hey, just sit down and just be quiet and that's it. Find out what it is. He went by, sit down after the game. They called both to the
you and him.
Yeah, make sure Andrew understand why they did this, and I said, you know what?
It's because you. I
don't take you out because that
you ran through.
I think you're going to 2 sign, and people was watching, and then all of a sudden people thought you can catch the ball. You did it, and bye-bye. You're not the third base coach. And I hope you are the best player I ever managing. You are the best player. You have to be the best player ever wear that uniform, and that's the reason I take you out. You got to learn from this.
So he didn't snicker. He didn't snicker it. He didn't go to the public meeting. This guy's
so Bobby did it Bobby's way, but let's be honest, he could have taken them out after the inning. He didn't have to wait till he was on.
But he wanted to prove a point. I respect that.
And David Ross did the same thing.
But I respect what Javi did though, because that's a team, and Javi knows baseball.
Javi went okay.
Javi said, "Okay, no argument, no the boss." And then right away when they interviewed him, that's what people understand about maturity of a player. Okay. He said right away, not 3 days later, not through a tweet, not through social media, not through cryptic message. He said, you know what? And Javi might not be happy because Javi's like, I want to play. Everyone wants to play. Javi said, you know what? He's the boss. He's my manager. I do what he says. Do I know what I did wrong? Yes and no, because I forgot how many outs there were. Guys, it happens.
Oh, a lot.
But I can tell you for a fact that at least in this side in town, I know who's boss there. The players are not second guessing.
I bet you what? I bet you if nobody runs for Big T-Bone, they're gonna get him.
By the way, I see that
Tony's waiting for someone not to run. Get up, come here.
I see that against Renteria like 7 times, and next day it wasn't lineup. By the way, that happened to me. What about this Minnesota Twig? My first year in the big league, we playing very bad. We start the game bad. Then in the end, I get a base season with 1 out, and in the 9th inning, fly ball to right field. And I have my head down like. I go to, I'm mature. Look at my hustle. Look at my fake hustle. I get to third base and Jimmy Leland's like this. I look up.
What are you doing?
I go, wow. Oh, it's 1 out. Game's over.
Oh.
And Tony Arruda say, we finished the game the way we start.
Like crap.
Very bad.
Basically, to you, Ozzy. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you before we jump into our next and last topic. Managers do this to send a message.
To the rest of the players.
To the rest of the players. And it also sends a message to the fan base saying like, hey, I'm the one that's in charge.
And it happened to us in men's baseball. My nephew popped up the ball in the infield.
Yes.
His dad was coaching third base, and it's funny because
the ball dropped.
He's a young kid, and I'm like, I'm glad you did it now, not in college, because in college you'd be running and might not be playing. You learn when you're in the big league level, especially when you're in a winning team, and that's what I think David Ross. If you're 30 games out of first place, you don't care. David Ross does not care what Theo Epstein did. He doesn't care what Joe Madden did. He knows that he's the boss now, and I love the fact that they respect him.
And you know what, though? If he doesn't do that, I'm predicting him. Wilson Contreras, Rizzo go, look, he's not going to take him out. But if it was me, he'd take him out. So that's why you have to – that creates problems. Rizzo's Ross is protecting his team.
That's the issue. And that's the issue with Atlanta.
Good job, David.
If Snicker was Snicker,
you do that to Swanson.
To everybody, he would have done it to Swanson.
Exactly.
He'd do it to Freeman. Not going to so wait.
No double standards.
No double standards. Ozzie used to. Players would stand there and wait for Ozzie. The biggest rip I've ever seen in Ozzie's career. And before we go, it's his wife, Jamie Burley, and today's actually this week was the anniversary of Mark's number being retired. But Jamie Burley put a picture of Ozzie hugging Mark's daughter and saying, the side of Ozzie no one knows. OZZIE Guillén is no secret, very close to Mark Burley, very close to Mark Burley's family. Immediate family, extended family, they were very close. Ozzie did not manage any team in the big leagues without Mark Burley being his player. That's how close he was. That's crazy. Everybody knows that, including the players. Ozzie tells you, oh, I don't have favorite players. I don't have this. BS. He loved Mark. Everyone thought he got special privilege, but he didn't because Mark himself would test Ozzie out. Ozzie had a rule, no sports during rain delays, unless it was baseball. Players were like, all the TVs were off. They were getting beat. They said, Mark, we dare you to turn on the TVs and see how Ozzie reacts. Mark says, I'm doing it. Mark turns on the TVs. Ozzie comes out. What the F? Who turned on the TVs? Mark says, I did. Expecting Ozzie to say, okay, Mark, you're the horse of the team. You can do whatever. Opposite. Mark got destroyed in front of the team. His manhood taken away. Obviously, Mark thought it was hilarious because they're like, I told you guys, this guy's nuts. He's going to treat me like everybody else. After the fight, when Ozzie was like fuming, they went into the office and said, hey, we knew what we were doing. We just wanted to see how you were going to react and see if you were going to go to Mark. Everybody.
Best way to lead, no secret. Go after the biggest fish. The little fish will follow.
Indeed, and that's when you know, that you're a team and that you're worried about. With the Cubs, I know one thing's for sure. Right now, the name in the front of the jersey, if it's Wrigley or the Cubs, it's actually the best thing, which jumps into the next topic perfectly. Biggest rivals right now. Right now, we're about to hit July. Okay, June, July, which means the All-Star break. Means one thing, rivalries start getting hotter. This past week, we had the San Diego Padres sweep the mighty Dodgers, even though it doesn't really matter because the Giants are in first place. But the rivalries are out there. In your opinion, boys, what is the biggest rivalry? Again, I always say that division rivalries are usually bigger than city rivalries. But then when you have city rivalries, I do believe that the biggest one, in my opinion, with all due respect to New York, the Cubs-Sox, especially this season, the whole bleacher thing, the snake keeps getting bigger. I heard the last one was $100,000 in money, how much beer they had spent and put it in the cup. I think it's going to be a crazy crosstown rivalry this year.
It could be the biggest one we've had since the Zambrano fight.
I agree.
And that's, 10 years maybe?
And New York, the same. Both teams in New York are actually in the same level.
Yeah, I think the Padres and the Dodgers are a good rivalry. But I think once we get this Sox-Cubs rivalry on the way, not that long ago, both teams are probably going to be.
But they don't. I like the rivalries that you don't play a lot. So, so the Dodgers, Padres, there's 14 games, 16 games.
It gets watered down. These guys will go at each other's throats for the next 6 games, and they will say, we have the bragging rights for the season, and it's going to be great if both teams are doing well, which they should be doing quite well. I mean, you don't expect them to drop off so bad. So it's going to be very, very exciting. I'm going to go. Obviously, we're in Chicago, so I'm going to stick with the hometown guys. Sox-Cubs is the biggest rivalry.
I think the Sox-Cubs, when the two teams are good, especially this year.
Why Tony La Russa's managing?
So Cubs-Sox, I think it's the biggest one because New York's rivalry is very classy. A lot of respect, even though they went to a World Series one other.
Yankees is not like that.
But it's a lot of respect. One of the most hostile places, and I will repeat this to both Cubs and White Sox fans: do not be wearing jerseys in other people's stadiums. I'm going to tell you this: don't bring your kids to the game.
Yeah, between the left field pole and the right field pole.
On either side of town.
On either side of town, unless you're prepared to fight, and I'm sure it will happen. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your neutral colors. But it's not going to happen.
Oh, by the way,
Wrigley Field bleachers is heck.
And I know 2 guys that are pumped for this series. I'm going to give you guys on offense. I'm going to give you guys on defense. On the Cubs, I know Contreras will love to take the White Sox deep.
I know TA.
And I know TA will love to take the other side deep. I know that Lance Lynn cannot wait to get on the mound and shout and do whatever. Those guys know they know what big moments. Kimbrough cannot wait to close and do his thing. Liam Henn. So those are the moments that I think that make rivalries. It's going to be a great series. It is awesome. Your job already said you cannot take off. You cannot take off during the Cubs Sox series. They don't care about any other game.
My wife's birthday, And
they
they
said
have a softball set every softball game.
He can't go to the Critters Anderson softball game.
It's gonna be really good. And on that note, and my Guillén guarantee for the week, I know that we were a little shocked there with the Pirates beating
Cleveland.
The Pirates beat Cleveland, and they took a game from the Sox.
Yes.
So we got.
They should have taken 2.
Yeah, we underestimate those Pirates. But my Guillén guarantee for this week is I got the Peekaboo Indians beating the Minnesota Twins 2 out of 3. They face each other, and I feel like guaranteed rate will be rocking. It should be rocking. First time back, and they're playing the Mariners. I'm sensing 2 out of 3 as well for them. I'm gonna go.
You could take the size. I'm gonna go the opposite. I think that this is gonna be rocking.
If the
Mariners come into town,
they're not a bad team.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, they're not.
They're 8-3 in their last 11 games.
Awful.
If they come in and they spoil the White Sox at home with a sold out crowd and the Cleveland Ramirez's get tie first place,
and Sox Park better have. I'm not gonna say 40. They better have 35,000
for the rest of the year.
For it's a weekend.
No, if they're gonna sell on Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
it's a weekend, so it better be sold out. And for the rest of the year, how about 25 to 28,000 every night? Sox fans, make an effort. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, because they got some games coming up here. They got the Orioles coming into town.
You know why they don't go to the game that much? Because they want to hear my pre and post game show.
Yeah, the pre and post game show wasn't that great.
You can pre and post game show. You can watch it on your phone. It's still counts for the ratings.
Great stuff, man. Red Sox are in first place. I don't know how they go back to third. They jump back to first. It's going to be a battle. Red Sox, Yankees are creeping back up. Tampa's right there. Franco's coming up. A lot of great series. NL Central is really packed too with the Cubs and the Brewers.
See how much excitement is when you talk about baseball right now, and we worry about checking.
Guillén guaranteed every pitcher is going to get checked on the way walking out of the mound. They're not going to catch anyone because players are smarter than that.
Besides that,
Guillén guaranteed. I'm going to take all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to hit one of the days. I'm going to play a 3-player parlay. I'm going to play Wander
to go deep
with Ramirez.
Oh, Jose's taking somebody in Minnesota.
So I'm taking Wander, Ramirez, and I'm thinking Vlad Jr. Taking those 3 guys to keep taking somebody deep. I'm not going to take Acuna because his back's tight. Even though if you want to get crazy, you can go 4 players. And during this weekend, at least Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's not going to be that combination. 3, you get crazy, you can do 4. But that 3, Wander, Ramirez, you can go Vladdy or Acuna at the end.
Take those players.
By the way, timeout. Don't go on Grandal. Grandal's a player that historically, when he starts swinging it, he gets hot. His swings have been better. He'll take somebody deep in that Seattle series. When Grandal hits it, it's going double or deep. He doesn't do it very often, but he will have that pop.
Make sure you guys check out the La Vida Baseball page and check out the Being Guillén page. We'll be back next week, like every Friday.
Yeah, for sure.
Have a great one.
Who only does his little heart. OZZIE, nice suit again. See you guys next Friday. Hope you guys enjoy it.
I might make this my dress code for the show.
You should do it every